Alrighty, we're live. Very good. We're live here at the Cannabis Radio Network. My name is Donald Barrett, and this is the Barrett Report. This hour, every Sunday night, by the way, I'm coming to you live. This is a live show. It comes to you live 9 p.m. on Sunday nights. So tune in every Sunday night. We've had some challenges going live. All the shows that I've done in the past have been recorded and edited, and then we put them on air. But doing it live is a whole new ball game. So I believe we have a lot of the technical difficulties worked out, and we're excited to be coming to you every single week. Now, my show, The Barrett Report, we discuss everything in Massachusetts related to cannabis. The hottest products, the hottest companies, where you get the best deals. You really learn everything about everything in Massachusetts and what's going on with the laws. Now, the Cannabis Radio Network also has two other shows that they're going to be introducing in the next couple of months. One show is the Grow Show. You're going to learn, it's basically for people that just want to start growing out of your home, and you can learn step by step how to grow right out of your home just by listening to that show. We have an expert panel that's going to be available to take your phone calls in that show. It's really going to be awesome. Then we have another show coming out called Cashing In. So we take investable companies and we interview either the president or the CEO of that company, and they tell us about that company, and you know about that company from an inside standpoint because these companies are going public or have just went public. So you're really going to get inside information on the industry. So we have something playing up here on the screen. Hold on one second. How's that? Much better. All right, I don't have Ken with me this week. I have Vinny with me, and he's handling the audio visual over here, so I'll be chiming in with him from time to time. But last week on the show, if you didn't get last week's show, we announced a growers competition. Now, I was at the NECAN event, and I've run into a bunch of different growers. And every grower thinks, let me just say it, every grower thinks they're the best grower out there. So I wanted to put together a competition and put up $10,000 in a weekend trip to Las Vegas as the prize. So if you're interested or you know somebody that's a grower and they think they're one of the best, the competition is called Boston's Best Grower Competition. And we're taking applications up to May 1st. So you can enroll up to May 1st just to go to the cannabisradionetwork.com and get all the information. So $10,000 in a weekend trip in Las Vegas, that's going to be terrific. One other thing I want to go over is our show sponsors. We have a couple of sponsors on the show. We have ProVerde Labs. ProVerde Labs is one of the top labs in the country. They're one of our top sponsors here. So if you have a product that you want to test, maybe THC levels, maybe you want to test it for heavy metals, you want to make sure it's a viable product before you go to the dispensaries. ProVerde Labs is the company you want to go to. They're in Milford, Massachusetts. If you do product development, if you're in CBDs or THC products, ProVerde is also there to help you. So just give them a call. They're in Milford, Massachusetts. I hope you see the logo on the screen. ProVerde Labs, the lab that you want to go to. The other company is Deaf Payment Systems. If you're in the cannabis business, and I know a lot of people watching the show are in the cannabis business, you know that there's challenges with processing credit cards in the banking industry. I just said last week that I think it was Citizens Bank, they shut down the Harvest Cup's bank account. They can't process credit cards. Now, the Harvest Cup doesn't grow or cultivate weed. So it doesn't make a difference. But what's happening is these banks that are nationwide banks, they're shutting down people's accounts. And that's why 60% of the companies out there still deal in cash. And it's risky. And I know they're trying to pass some laws so banks can start accepting money related to the cannabis business. And they really have to start doing it fast. But Deaf Payment Systems is a company that really goes out on a limb. They really take, let's say they take chances, and they're willing to work with high-risk companies to ensure that you get your money. And they know what they're dealing with. So Deaf Payment Systems, if you're looking to process credit cards, accept checks, anything to do with financial services, go check out Deaf Payment Systems. All righty. We're all set over here, Vinny? Ready to go? Yep. Perfect. A couple of things in the news this week. And by the way, we're always taking your phone calls. So in the next 10 minutes, we're going to be taking your phone calls. So I'd like to hear from you on anything that we discuss during the show. One question that I want to pose to you, and I want to hear people's feedback on this, and call in and let me know your thoughts. If you had a child, a teenage child, that was driving home from a party, would you rather them be drinking at that party or be smoking cannabis at that party before your child drove home? And why? I'd love to hear from you. I think it's a great question, and I'd like to hear people's opinion on it. So if you have a chance, call the number. The number is 617-944-5111. So, in the news, we had Chuck Schumer, Democratic. He's one of the Democratic heavyweights. And he came forth this week on 420, of course. And he says he's putting forth a bill to decriminalize cannabis at the federal level, which is fantastic. I mean, what could be better, right? I don't like anything about Chuck Schumer, frankly, but I like this. And what I do like about it is it's making President Trump, it's really putting President Trump in a corner to make a decision. That's really what's happening. Because if Chuck Schumer in the Democratic Party is going to run the next election on a let's legalize cannabis on the federal level platform, then Donald Trump has to make a decision real soon. Let's face it, that's what has to happen. He has to make a decision. So he's in a corner right now. And like I said on last week's show, what I believe is going to happen is this. You know, the election is about 3 years away or so, right? So I don't believe Donald Trump will basically go after the states. And he said he wasn't going to go after the states. There's no indication he's going to go after the states. But he's definitely not going to go after the states before the next election. It just doesn't make sense. He knows, I know, he knows, I even know he'll lose. Everybody knows he'll lose. He knows that too. Not only lose a bunch of money in tax revenue, but he's going to lose the election. And after the election, say if he wins the election, the business is going to be too big, folks. Like I said, it's going to be like pulling down a 747 with a rope. This business is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger every day. In the next year, I could imagine over 50% of the states will be legal. Pass the laws to be legal medical marijuana in their states. So 63% of Americans want it, folks. We have to pass it. I mean, the time has come. We've waited long enough. So I want to thank you, Chuck Schumer, for putting forth that bill. Like I said, I don't like much about him, but what I like about it is he's putting forth a bill to decriminalize cannabis. And it's putting Trump in a decision-making mode where he has to make a decision. So, you know, that's one of the things that was in the news. You know, another thing that was in the news this week was the marathon. Vinny, checking in the marathon?
I was at work all day, but I was able to watch a little bit of it on TV.
I was reading something in one of the newspapers about athletes, because everyone thinks, hey, you know, people that smoke, they're on the couch eating potato chips all day. And I was reading a whole thing about a segment that smokes that they're athletes. I had a group of people, they were talking about, they couldn't even qualify for the marathon unless they smoked, they believe. How about this? 85% of NBA players smoke pot. I mean, that number blew me away. So it's not just people eating potato chips. I know that's the vision we get in our head. Lazy, you know, you're not smart, you're not all these things. But folks, throw that stuff out the window. There were lies. It was propaganda. You know, they say drinking burns almost 3 times as many brain cells as smoking. I mean, so we were lied to for so long in this country. So athletes are smoking like never before. And there's a lot of research on that. So a lot of people, before they go to the gym, I have friends that wake up before they go to the gym every morning, they smoke. So that's pretty interesting. Another thing that I want to get into is the products that are out there. You know, I've smoked the flower for years. Since I was in high school, I've smoked cannabis. And, you know, I've used the bong, I've smoked out our papers, I've tried edibles, I've tried a bunch of different things. However, recently, I was introduced to a product, and I have to say, I smoke and, you know, I get high, don't get me wrong, but I don't get, you know, like I used to when I first started smoking. Everybody knows, like, the giggles and, like, you know, the first time you started smoking. Well, I was introduced to actually a couple products, because they were liquid products. This one's called Liquid Haze, okay? And it's a fruit punch, and it has 100 milligrams of THC in there. And there's a couple other products on the market. They don't even come close to the taste or the potency of this particular product. Now, this product isn't on the market, and there's really no... in the foreseeable future, it's not going to be on the market in Massachusetts because the Cannabis Control Commission has not put forth a license to do so. However, if you do come across one of these products like I did, try it, okay? Because when I did it, I mean, I like I said, I smoke, but I don't really get crazy high. When I when I drank this bottle, okay, and I drank this bottle about 2 weeks ago, I was higher than I've ever been in my life. In a good way, not like a bad way, but like an upbeat sativa type of way, in a very talkative type of way. So this product called Liquid Haze, if you see it, if you know somebody that gets it, try it. It's incredible. I'm gonna drink it right now. You know, see what happens for the rest of the show. But it's a dynamite product. So hold on for 1 second. We're gonna be taking some phone calls this week. We actually have some phone calls lined up. So just give me 1 second.
Yeah, I know. Well, Don guzzles that down. I came over the other day, and you said the same thing to me when I walked in the door. You were like, "Holy shit!" I don't know if that the longest time or ever is the highest I've ever been for like 4, 5, 6 hours. You were saying
It's incredible. It's really incredible. You know, and what I think, I'll tell you what I think it is in just a second. Make sure I have no juice on my face. Bada bing. Folks, what I think it is simply the absorption rate. Because I could smoke out of a bong all day long, and I'm not going to feel like the way I felt when I drank that. It takes about 5 minutes to kick in, and it's incredible. It's incredible. If you get one, try it. They're very inexpensive, and I think it's one of the best products out there. You know, you've seen the vapes, you've seen a lot of different edibles. These drinks are just incredible, and I think it's the best way to go, frankly. I've always stuck with the flower, but the drinks are incredible. So we're going to have the inventors of that product on in a few weeks, hopefully. And like I said, there's a lot of different products out there. If you get the Liquid Haze, it's absolutely the best tasting and the most potent product out there. But it's not available in stores, so you got to kind of find it on your own, Google it, Facebook it, whatever you have to do. All right, 420 was this week. And if you have any great stories about what you did on 420, I'd love to hear from you. Again, the number to call into the station is 617-944-5111. Now, me and a bunch of guys from the station, we were invited by our good friends at the Boston Cannabis Company to go over to Cannapalooza. So we went over to Cannapalooza on 420. It was put on by the Boston Cannabis Company. They had a band there. There was probably about 300-400 people there. So what a great outing. No violence. It was very calm, very nice people. It was a really great time, and I want to thank our friends over at the Boston Cannabis Company for inviting all of us and showing us a good time. They're definitely one of the leaders out there. They have great apparel. They're hopefully opening a dispensary soon, but they have great apparel, the Boston Cannabis Company. Hopefully I'll be wearing their shirt in the next couple of weeks. All right, 420, you know, I was pretty interested to find out the original meaning of 420, like where it came from. Did you know?
so many rumors. No, what did I know?
Well, if you know different, by the way, I'd love to hear from you. But what I read was there was a group of kids in California that they always went to the Grateful Dead concerts, and one of the band members of the Grateful Dead heard about 420, and he used it on stage,
No kidding.
and then it like became like a worldwide phenomenon overnight. And they used 420, and it was started by the Grateful Dead and the Grateful Dead fans. I think when you trace the origins of it,
No kidding.
that's where it went back to, because it's the unofficial holiday for us. It's pretty neat. So that's interesting. One other thing, growers. Last week on the show, we had Anthony Eugenio from Green Harvest Hydroponics. If you're a grower, if you love to grow, if you want to start growing out of your home, Green Harvest Hydroponics has all the equipment, all the materials, the soil, the chemicals, everything you really need to get started. Our viewers get a 10% discount at Green Harvest Hydroponics, so just call up and say you saw it on Cannabis Radio Network or the Barrett Report, and you're going to get a substantial discount off of your products, your lights, your soil, really anything that you need in the store. He's right here in Peabody, Massachusetts, right on Route 1. So look it up, Green Harvest Hydroponics. He ships anywhere in the country, and he has wonderful products and some of the best manufacturers as well. Your medical card. I've got a lot of emails this week and a lot of questions from people asking still why they should get their medical card. So I want to clear that up. If you didn't get the information in the last couple of weeks, we had MedWell Health on the show. Now, MedWell Health is the leader in Massachusetts of getting people their marijuana license, if you will. They have 6 different locations. If you can't get to them, they'll actually send somebody to you. MedWell Health, you just look them up and get your license. And the number one reason I told people to get their license is the taxes. In this state, people are going to be paying 20 to 22% tax. 20 to 22% tax. You know what the average sales tax in this state is? 6.25%.
That's crazy.
Okay, so the thing with this is, people are so happy. Cannabis smokers are so happy that the laws are finally getting passed that they don't care about what they're paying for taxes right now. They're just so happy it got approved. It's like the person that just got approved, like a new couple that just got approved for a mortgage. They don't care about the rate. They're so happy they just got in the house.
Right.
It's almost the same exact thing, right?
Yep.
So it's interesting. So the medical card, folks, when you get your medical card, you save the taxes. You don't have to pay the taxes. So I believe what's going to happen is this. People are going to start going to the dispensary, and it's a novelty at first. You walk in, you see all the things. You've never seen a store like that. It's never been legal, so it's a novelty. But let me tell you, if you go in month after month and you're spending $100, $120, $130 for a quarter ounce, it's going to wear off pretty quick. Believe me, that novelty is going to wear off pretty quick. And what people are going to do is they're just going to go to the black market and they're going to buy the product for $80 or $70 a quarter off their friend. It's just inevitable. So I think they're making a mistake by putting the taxes that high. We'll see what actually happens, but that's one of my predictions. All right, let me take a few callers. I know we do have a couple callers on the line. Let me see who we have here.
Yeah.
All right. We have Matt calling.
Hi, Don.
Hey, Matt, how you doing? Thanks for calling.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
From Lynn.
All right, thanks for calling.
Yeah. I want to talk about the alcohol versus cannabis.
Oh, yes. So the question was, if people are just tuning in right now, if you had a teenage child, maybe just got their license, and they were driving home. Now, just let me say this first. We never want our children to drive impaired, right? I mean, we never want our children to drive impaired. But
right.
However, if you had to pick, if they were drinking at that party or smoking at that party, what would you rather them do? So, Matt, I want to thank you for calling in today, and I'd love to hear your opinion.
The opinion, I always go back to what I used to say to my father. Would you rather me drinking and driving or smoking and driving? You know, I would much rather have my son smoking and driving.
Why? What I mean, in your experience, why? Because I mean, it's a debatable question.
The mental and physical impairments alone of drinking booze. I've never stumbled into my car from smoking weed. I've never had to cover one eye driving because of smoking weed. It's just it's totally different. It's totally different.
Right. I mean, I believe you're right, and I'll tell you why I believe you're right at the end of the show today, because I want to get more people's opinion. But it's a debatable question, and I think the only people that don't realize that it's safer to smoke and drive are people that never smoked. It's just that.
That's right.
It's just that simple, because
that's right.
You're absolutely a lot more aware when you smoke. You know, when you drink, you speed up, you take chances. When you smoke, you slow down and you're more cautious. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
That's exactly the truth.
Right.
Keep up the good work over there, Don.
All right, Matt, thank you for calling in.
Okay, bud.
All right. All righty. Perfect. So I'm glad we're starting to get calls this week. This is great. Everything's working. So if you have any calls, this fire one, okay. If you have any questions about anything that we're talking about on today's show, please, call in and let's talk about it. Did you get your medical card yet? I talked about the number one reason to get your medical card, the taxes. The number two reason to get your medical card is the legal reasons. Okay, if you have your medical card, okay, your ex-wife, your ex-spouse can't say you're on drugs anymore. It's medicine, folks. It's medicine. And most of the people out there that are smoking cannabis are smoking it for a medical reason, whether it's anxiety, maybe it's depression, maybe it's a few other things. Frankly, I don't know anybody that went to get their medical license, the medical marijuana license, that didn't get their medical marijuana license. So it's a very easy, bridge to cross, if you will. You go there, you're going to get your license. There's about 350 different ailments that you can get your license for. I'm sure you can come up with one of them, folks, and you'll save the taxes. By the way, you're going to get a higher potency product, by the way, when you go to the dispensaries. They have products specifically they're going to keep for medical marijuana patients that has higher THC levels than for the recreational users. That's another reason. I mean, the reasons just keep adding up. And they had to make it reasonable, because a lot of people were saying, even before I went to NECAN, I was saying to myself, why would anybody go get their license now when it's recreational legal? I mean, I was thinking to myself, the alcohol, it's like, why would I go get a license for alcohol when I can go to the store and buy it? Well, alcohol's not medical. You're not going to save taxes when you go when you actually go get a license, and you can't get one for alcohol anyways. But cannabis is medical, and you can get a license, and there's a lot of benefits to it. So call Medwell Health on our website, or you can message us. You get a $50 coupon to get your medical card. So we have a great relationship with Medwell Health. So make sure you give them a call. We're going to be taking another call in just a minute. What I want to do is I want to talk about a product, and I want to come back and I'm going to use the product. It's called the One Hit Wonder. Okay, when I was at the NECAN event, which is one of the largest events in the country for cannabis, I mean, it's the biggest convention in New England, okay, and they had a product there. I see a bunch of different pipes all the time. They had a pipe called the One Hit Wonder, and I'm actually going to queue up a video in just a minute, and I'm going to show you the interview with the founder. So hold on for just a second, and we're going to queue that up, and I'll be right back.
Cooler hit of cannabis. It works, it's handheld, so it has a mouthpiece.
Got it.
It's actually Compared to a regular bat, an aluminum bat, a glass bat, it has good weight to it. It feels nice in your hand.
Yeah.
I find
Oh,
myself
yeah.
walking around with it in my hand like I'm carrying keys.
Yeah.
All right. And you just know that you're holding it. It's solid brass. It's nickel plated. It's made in America. You're not going to find broken pieces of glass in your purse. You're not going to find a broken bat when you drop it.
Yeah. Are there any replacement pieces that you have to get?
There's really nothing. I mean, that's it. It's solid.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. Now, what do they cost, and where do people go to get information on these?
Well, you can go right to our website to onehit1.com.
Yes.
You can Google us. We love Instagram followers. We love people posting, and if you take a look at our feed, you're going to see we got a winner. Now,
So
one other thing with this, if I unscrew the mouthpiece on it and I screw on the supplied aluminum downstem, now I've got that same 50 milligram DA that I can drop into an 18, 14, or 10 millimeter bong, and I can smoke that same 50 milligram DA water filtered on my bong.
Awesome.
All for $30.
That's incredible. All $30. That's incredible. Stephen Levine from One Hit Wonder. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey,
this
thank
is
you.
really
Thank
fascinating.
you. We appreciate
I
it.
mean, our viewers are going to love this for sure.
Thank you.
Again, this is... All right, we're back. We're back, Jack. There we go. All right, the One Hit Wonder. You saw the interview. They're going to be live on our show. They were supposed to be here last week. We had some technical difficulties. But it's an amazing product, and there's a few different things it does, and I have it right here. Hold on. No. It fell down. Yeah, I got it. We have a caller. I'll get it to the caller in just 1 second. So the One Hit Wonder, I just want to show people that didn't know how it worked. So the grinder, this is one of the grinders that comes with, and this is great. It goes right in my wallet. So you can take a bud, and you can grind the bud very, very easy. Okay, and you put that back in your wallet, goes in a nice sleeve, very easy. And this is the One Hit Wonder. A lot of people are very familiar with the dugout, or the thing that looked like a cigarette that did one hit. And everybody knows when you did that one hit, you burnt the back of your throat virtually every time. Well, the engineer that developed this put a screen or a catcher in there so you don't get you don't get a burnt throat after you smoke. And it's a nice, clean, fresh hit. So very easily, you just pack it like this, just like you would do the regular dugout. And it's a measured dose, actually, too. I'll talk about the other benefits in just a second, but this is it. Folks, that's a hit. That's a one-hit wonder, let me tell you that. That's a one-hit wonder. There's probably another hit in there, too. But what's nice about it is it's a measured dose. So this actually goes into a bong as well. And a lot of people that are using the product for medical reasons, they want to do a dose, meaning if this dose is enough, that's all I'm going to take. So they have a measured dose that goes in here. I think it's 50
milligrams?
50 milligrams. So every dose is 50 milligrams. And even, like, I like to smoke out of a bong, but I usually use a big bowl. And the bowl, I pack it, and I usually just smoke it once, and I dump out the rest of the bowl. I waste a lot, unfortunately. I know it's sad, but you know, sometimes the facts are sad. This, I can throw it right in my bong, and I save so much money. And you see the hit I got, right? I mean, it's incredible. So the One Hit Wonder, and by the way you spell it is One Hit, ONEDA.com. One Hit Wonder. So we'll put that information on the screen. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. It's a great product to take with you if you're going camping or tripping, camping or going anywhere, hiking. It's a great, great product. So let me get this out of the way. We're going to be taking some more callers. Here we go. Boy, that juice is. I can feel that juice. I can feel that juice. All right, hold on one second. All right, do we have a caller on the line?
Yeah, this is Eric calling it. How are you?
Who's calling?
I said this is Eric.
Eric, how are you?
Yeah.
Where are you calling
Good.
from?
How are you?
Oh, where are you calling from?
I'm calling in from Brockton.
Brockton, okay. What are you calling about?
That's right. Yeah, I wish I could have just seen what you did with the one-hit wonder there. I can only hear the show right now and not see it, but it sounds interesting. Is that a Massachusetts product? It's based on the spelling of wonder.
That's a good question. No, I think the guy's actually from Connecticut. They ship the product all over the country. Very, very nice gentleman that owns the company. I met him at the NECAN event, and anybody that comes, any customer that wants them, make sure you just give them our code when you go there, and you'll get I think you get $5 or $10 off the price of the product. So I think it's one of the hottest products out there.
See what it looks like.
Have you ever
I
used?
was calling in to comment on the Chuck Schumer bill. I think that's a really good. It's a step in the right direction for everybody, not just us here in Massachusetts, but to see some Congress people moving things forward on the federal level is exactly what we need.
Right. And I think you're right. And I think, like I said, they're making Donald Trump make a decision. Because they know that he's going to have to make a decision before the next election. They want to come out with a pro-legalized cannabis platform. And if Donald Trump says no,
yeah.
I mean, he's going to be in a world of hurt come the election time. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, it was nice to see what he had to say. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but some politician from Colorado earlier in the week, Trump said that the Department of Justice, the Sessions bill, is not going to affect Colorado, so that should extend to the rest of the states as well. So
hey, the bottom line is
another positive.
The bottom line is 63% of Americans want legalized cannabis. 63%. I mean, enough said, right? Enough said. I mean, Donald Trump, you want to build the wall? Build it out of cannabis. Get the money and build your wall. Okay, build it out of hemp, whatever you build it out of. But it just makes no sense if he doesn't do it. So I know he's going to do it. We know. I believe the writing is on the wall. And I know a lot of the big investors out there are holding their money. They're holding it. And they're just waiting because they're scared. But once we know it's going federally legal, I think if you look at it and say, wow, the writing is on the wall. This is the time to take this is like the gold rush right now. It's like, you have to see things, you have to vision things before you can actually see them. You have to see them in your mind first. And if you can't see that this cannabis industry is the biggest, most exciting, fastest growing industry out there, including cryptocurrency and everything else, cannabis is real. And it's happening, and it's been around for thousands of years. And there'll never be an opportunity like there is right now. It's never going to go legal again. Okay? Once it goes legal, you have an opportunity of a lifetime. Right? And I know a lot of people that are jumping in the cannabis business. A lot of people are growing product. A lot of people are developing products. I send a lot of people over to ProVerde Labs that develop products. But it's an exciting time in this industry. It really is. So we're going to be taking some calls again. But Sam, I want to thank you for calling in. I agree with you. I'm excited that Chuck Schumer did that this week. I don't like anything else about the man. However, I'll give him a plus on that one. So let's see what happens. He announced it on 420 too. I wonder if he smokes. I wonder if he smokes. That's always my question.
I think most of them.
Last week I was talking about Bill Weld and John Boehner. John Boehner.
Yeah.
Okay. They're getting
Bill Weld, the fall down drunk.
Yeah, you heard the show. All right. Yeah, he's a fall down drunk. He's never smoked in his life. Okay. Neither did John Boehner. But now they've been invited to be on the board of one of the largest cannabis companies in the country, and money changed their decision, and I'm happy. I'm happy for every person that changed their mind, but it's the hypocrites like Governor Wells, who's a drunk. You're right. He's a fall down drunk. I mean, even during the interview when they were interviewing him, it's all he kept talking about is Jack Daniels. Oh, you ever smoke? Oh, I don't think I'll ever smoke. So he doesn't have a revelation. He didn't have a revelation about weed. He didn't have anything like that. Someone handed him a bunch of money and said, will you get behind this? He was like, hey, sure. That's pretty much what happened. So, he's a hypocrite, but I like hypocrites, especially if they're coming on our side, right?
That's right.
All right.
All right, well, thanks for having me on. I've been enjoying the show.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling in.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. All right, terrific. We have a couple more calls we'll get to in just a little bit. One other thing I want to talk about tonight is I want to digress from weed, but we're going to come back to it. I want to talk a little bit about the opiate epidemic, especially here in Massachusetts. Everybody knows that it's a sad situation what has happened with opiates. And I want to talk about that for a minute because I've had a lot of friends that have died because they've used opiates, went on to heroin and whatnot. And, they're not here today. Kids that I went to school with, 40, 30, even younger. I mean, it's just incredible. And what was happening is doctors were prescribing opiates. I mean, you go on the doctor, and if it was one of these doctors, they just write a script for anything. Oh, your arm's sore, here's opiates. Okay, your elbow's sore, here's opiates. Oh, you got a pain in your back, here's some opiates. So they were giving out opiates like they were giving out candy. And a lot of the pharmaceutical companies were incentivizing the doctors to write the scripts. There's lawsuits against them right now, and a lot of them are going to jail because of this. But the problem is there nonetheless. You had all these people addicted to opiates, going to their doctor, getting opiates every single week, a month, getting their opiates. And then all of a sudden the news came out that opiates, the war on opiates, and the doctors immediately tightened up. And today, you basically have to be dead to get an opiate. You basically have to have terminal cancer and be dying tomorrow to get an opiate from a doctor. So what happened is they left all these people in Massachusetts, and I don't know about other states, but here's what happened in Massachusetts. They left all these people out there not knowing what to do. They can't get their opiates from their doctor anymore. Believe me, folks, they're not just going to go take an aspirin and go, oh, I feel better. They've been taking opiates from their doctor. All of a sudden, they get cut off cold turkey. They go use heroin. Okay? I see all these people dying. They're all dying of heroin. I don't see anybody dying of Percocets. They're all dying of heroin. And they're all going to heroin is because the doctors are shutting people off. So there has to be a better solution. That's my opinion. I can tell you why I believe that to be the case, but I've seen it time after time after time. Okay? You can't get opiates today from your doctor, and the people that were taking opiates for years, 10 years, 15 years, were cut off cold turkey. And the doctor was said, I cannot prescribe you opiates anymore. And then they went to heroin. And it's a sad, sad situation. A lot of people made that leap because, hey, it's cheaper for the heroin. Hey, I'm paying $50, $60 for a couple Percocets, or you can get a bag of heroin for $5 or $10. Sad, sad. And what's also sad, folks, is we were always told that marijuana was the gateway drug to all the other drugs. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting to find out that it's the exit drug? That it's the exit drug? There's not only people coming off of opiates at breakneck speed, okay, breakneck speed in this country, but they're coming off of alcohol by doing cannabis maintenance. I mean, if you had a spouse, would you rather be a drunk or smoke? I mean, I know what I'd rather them do, but that's what's going on. So if you have any opinions on that, you can always write in, and I'll bring it up on the show next week. But the opiate epidemic is sad, and it can be solved. And I think a lot of people should look at cannabis as a solution. So if you're on opiates, consider, weaning off your opiates and using cannabis. And there's a few different websites on there that can help you and guide you through that. I'm certainly not a doctor, but I see the statistics in the states where cannabis has been legalized, and you see a dramatic dip in the deaths associated with opiates. And I hate when they say death associated with opiates. It's death associated with heroin. Again, I don't see anybody, I never turn on my news and say, hey, I saw someone, they took a few Percocets and they died. That's not what happens, folks. They were on Percocets, the doctor shut them off, they started doing heroin, and they're dead today. So who killed them? For you to decide. All right, so this is the Cannabis Radio Network. And we're going to be here every week at 9 o'clock on Sunday nights. And next week, we're going to be talking about the cancer and cannabis connection. A lot of you have heard about Rick Simpson oil. Okay, if you Google Rick Simpson oil, there's a lot of information out there on it. We're going to be talking about the cancer and cannabis connection, what the American Cancer Society is saying, and what a lot of other leading experts are saying about cannabis and helping people alleviate symptoms with chemotherapy, and even helping reduce the size of tumors. The information that's coming out is really incredible. So we're going to be talking about that on next week's show. And if you tuned in late, I want to mention the Cannabis Growers Competition, Boston's Best Grower. If you or someone you know thinks they're Boston's best grower, we have a competition. Okay, go to our website, fill out the information, you'll get all the details. You can win up to $10,000 in a trip to Las Vegas. Applications have to be in by the 1st, May 1st. So go to the website, get the information. We'd like to have as many of you on board as possible, because we want to find out who the best grower is. This is our first annual one. We're going to do this every single year. So if you or someone you know thinks they're the cat's meow as far as growing, go to the website and fill it out. And I talk to growers, and let's see who steps up. Yeah. Because a lot of people talk, and I talk to a lot of growers, and I think a lot of them are talk. They're the best grower. I'm the best grower. He sucks. This guy sucks. My shit's better than his shit. Well, let's see, folks. Let's see. I'm putting up $10,000 in a trip to Las Vegas. Go to the website, cannabisradionetwork.com. Fill out the information, and I'll be calling you personally, and we'll give you all the details, and it's going to be exciting. You're going to be featured on the show week to week on the Grow Show, and we have the competition coming up. We have an event coming up on July 14th where we're having an expo for the radio station. We have a bunch of vendors coming out, and we have a lot of listeners coming out, and you're going to be able to vote on the product July 15th. So there's going to be more information on that event, but mark your calendar right now for July 15th. It's going to be at the Peabody Marriott from 6 to 11, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's on a Saturday night in July. So mark your calendar now, because that event is going to happen, and you're not going to want to miss the announcements that I give you at that event. So I want to thank again our sponsors. Our sponsors are really responsible for this show happening every single week. So I encourage you to use our sponsors, because they help us keep this information on the air. ProVerde Labs, folks, if you're developing a product, or if you need to test one of your products, maybe you're a grower, you want to test THC, you want to test if it has heavy metals, you want to make sure it's safe, ProVerde Labs is the only lab to go to. They have the best reputation in the industry. go to provertilabs.com and get more information. They're the best one out there, folks, and they're one of our sponsors, so please use them. Also, Deaf Payment Systems. If you're in the cannabis industry and you're looking for ways to take in money, processing credit cards, banking, anything to do with financial services, Deaf Payment Systems, you need to check out. So just go Google Deaf Payment Systems. We might have the website up on the screen, or at least the logo up on the screen. And go find them, folks, because they're taking these higher risk type of businesses. And this really shouldn't be a high risk thing, but face it, 60% of the companies right now are still dealing in cash. So it's still a high risk thing. And this is the company that will work with you as a partner to make sure you get your money and you keep your money. Deaf Payment Systems. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank you for watching. And I want to see you next week right here at 9 o'clock on the Barrett Report. This is the Cannabis Radio Network, and I'm going to see you next week. Thanks for being with us.